Hey everyone, Cerebral Tackle here. Today we're going to tie a custom jig on one of my favorite little under the radar jig heads. It's a football head made by Keitech. What I'm going to be doing is tying a little bit of a hybrid finesse jig, if you will. I'm going to build it on Keitech's Super Football Tungsten head. It's a 1/4 ounce tungsten football head with a small 2/0 hook. If it comes out like I think it will, it'll be a nice, compact, yet plump little finesse frame that bass should not be able to pass up. The football head will make it great around riprap and hang-ups. And that tungsten, oh, that sweet, dense tungsten, you'll be able to feel a fish even if he changes his mind. The pattern I'm going to be tying up, I haven't tied before. So I'm probably going to leave it a little open to suggestions on the name. Once you see it all said and done, I want you to put in the comment section what you think I should name this new bad boy. So let's get out the stuff and get this party started. So a quick introduction as we get started as to what it is I'm working with. Here I've got the Keitech 1/4 ounce super tungsten football heads. Look at this little bad boy here. That little thing has a perfect little skirt collar here. A good keeper for the trailer. You know, I like the compact shape, I really do. And it has a beautiful natural stand-up ability there. I've also got 3 colors of skirts. I have a tab here of burnt orange, and then a couple variations of a green pumpkin, copper, and brown, and then a kind of another green pumpkin, copper, and kind of a dark watermelon. We're going to mix these 3 together and see what I can come up with. The first thing we want to think about when we're layering our skirts or getting our tabs here into position is lightest colors always go on the bottom. Because whether you're talking about a crawfish, a bait fish, any kind of forage for fish, the underside, the belly, is always lighter in color. So what we're going to do in this case is I'm going to take this darker tab here, I'm going to layer it across the lighter of the 2. Now, this guy here, I've only got 5 strands of this orange. And the reason why is I'm going to try to build tentacles. A little longer stretch out the back of the jig on these. Now, because it's the lightest in the color, and I'm only going to use it kind of as a trailer or tentacle, I'm going to fold it in on the bottom. So we're going to do this over that. Then we're going to take this bad boy here. Forgive me, I'm having to kind of look around the camera here, so it's kind of a bit cumbersome. Get on back here. Now let them lay nice and flat. Now we're going to run them through our little threader and get them into position. Okay folks, I haven't ever done it like this before, but we're going to give it a try, okay? Basically the trick is I actually have the camera between myself and what I'm working with, so I'm having to try to use the viewfinder here to figure out what the hell it is I'm doing. So we'll see. Actually, I'm going to have to try to go around it. I'm going to try to get a good view. Here I've got my little collar expanding tool. It looks like a pair of scissors. And I've got my collar here inside. And I've got it open wide so that I can thread my layers through. And I'm going to thread all 3 through here at the same time. Now the trick is going to be making sure I get that little orange tab in there as well. Normally this is easy peasy because I don't have something in front of me. But being that I have something in front of me, it's a bit trickier than it normally is. Now that I got them, I'm going to take them and pull them through. Now, keep in mind those tentacles I was telling you about, that burnt orange tab here at the back. I'm going to need to pull all these bands through here, or all these tabs through here to the center, to the middle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just the orange one here, and I'm going to try to keep it separated from the other 2. And then I'm going to try to pull it back without screwing with the other ones. And that's going to be the trick. I need to hold the other two and then pull it right on back to there. Now it's hard for you to see it, but I've got it almost out there. We've got it a lot longer here than the others. Let's flip it around here to the other side, see if we can see it. See there, it's almost out. That's right where I want it to be. Now I'm going to release. I'm going to get that a little bit better centered there. I'm going to release this. I'm going to pop it off. Take that collar off there. Now, let go. Now we have our skirt tabs. And we should have that orange there a little bit longer to create our tentacles. So, let's go to thread this bad boy on now and see how it looks. Well guys, I almost forgot a step. I was so excited to put this on the head and see how it looks that I forgot to cut my tabs. That might help. Some guys layer directly on the heads. I don't. I mean, it's nice and dandy and whatnot, but I don't do that. Now, you might be wondering how many strands is going to be in this skirt. Roughly 45. I've got 2 strands of 20 here and a strand or one of 5. I'll do some more trimming here when it's all said and done. I might even run a comb through its hair and make it a bit more handsome. Sometimes if these strands don't cut correctly, I'll do that in order to kind of get them all loose and taken care of. I want to keep that out of the way there. Okay. Got those there. Let's see. Okay. Some of these strands come a little bunch there. So what I think I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna go ahead and run a comb through it right now. If I can find my trusty little comb here. Looks like most of the problems is on this one end. But as you can see now, got the tangles out and should be ready to lay on. This next part may be a little difficult to catch on camera, but let's see if I can do it. What we're going to do here is we're going to take the end we're working with here. I'm going to keep the tentacles there on the bottom. Okay, meaning I'm not going to have them coming off the top where they're flaring. I'm going to leave them just straight off the bottom, which means I'm going to leave that side there exposed as far as being the shorter side of the skirt. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to take my materials here, I'm going to bunch them together and let them kind of, well, it didn't really work that well, did it? Let them kind of drop. This way, I can kind of get what's the top layer, what's the bottom, kind of get them arranged, kind of let them naturally fall in that kind of open kind of a circular pattern there. The process is when you do that and you bunch them up and then you just let them fall open, if you've layered them right, they should naturally just kind of spread where you need them. It's not always instant oatmeal, and I'm having to look at it here kind of around. Not exactly how I want it to be. Look at it, see if there's any bald spots. If there is, kind of arrange things where there's not the bald spots. And you kind of have it going there. Now we're going to find our jig head. And we're going to try to attempt to come right down the middle of this bad boy. Now remember, you're keeping your lighter colors on the bottom there. So the oranges and that kind of tan from that bottom of the two full tab layers there, we're keeping those on the bottom. We're going to push this up over the keeper. Now if I have a hard time getting it up over the top collar here, I have a tool for that. But because I didn't stack them as tight as I normally do, as full, it looks like I had no problem getting up over there. Now you might see that collar's a bit janky, and we're going to fix that. We're absolutely going to fix that. So this is how it's first going to lay. Now, there is its first look. I don't know about y'all, but I think it looks pretty sexy. I'm going to give, oh man, I was going to give it a bit of a haircut to make it more of a finesse, kind of a stand-up jig, but if that doesn't look sexy as it is, I may change plans, guys. Normally on a finesse jig, you'll cut a lot of the inner part or outer part of the skirt, outer layer, up short to let it come and stand up and flare more. But this just looks good. Wow, I'm second guessing now, people. I'm second guessing. Well, I'm going to take a couple seconds to think about my decisions and I'll get right back. Okay, folks, I said I was going to take a quick break and then decide what I was going to do, whether I was going to go ahead and give it a haircut or leave it a standard jig. Well, I lied. I don't know yet. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and wire tie it on first and then make the decision. As you might be able to see, I've got a little piece of wire up here. That's to tie the lower half of the skirt away from the body so that I can get in there and work easier to do the wire tying. So now I'm going to just kind of bend my wire here in a bit of a U. Then I'm going to take and run it. I'm a bit out of practice. It's been a little while. Been a little while since I've tied. I'm going to take, run it right across there. Now whenever you cinch it down, you got to make sure that not only you don't get any skirt strands in the way, but that also you don't twist the skirt on the bait. Because if you do that, you're liable to just, screw up your whole layering process, and then it look ugly when you're done. You don't want it to look ugly. So I've got it up around the top there. Get it good and tight. Then I'm going to come over there and under and give it, and get that little strand out of the way there. Give it another good pull. This is the part of the program where I'm going to start using pliers. I want to get a good cinch on. I'm going to give it one more turn through. Take, grab the respective ends and give it a good snug pull. At this point, I'm going to do a quick pass around twist. Now, I'm going to continue to go in that direction. A few passes. I'll give it a bit of a tug here. I've got a good long little tag in there. Let's see if these little whiskey cutters will cut it. I'm having to deal with cutters I normally don't use because my other ones are misplaced at the moment. The wife did some cleaning. You know what happens when that happens. They disappear. We know where they are. We don't want to go get them right now. I'm going to fold that wire form back against the collar there. Then I'm going to reach over and find my handy little X-Acto. The reason I'm going to do that, if I can find the freaking thing, it's always the last place you look, is I'm going to cut that band off. The band can stay on. There's no problem with the band staying on, but if I'm going to wire tie on something, I tend to like the band off. I'm going to very carefully, not to cut myself or any of the strands, cut through this band. And that should be close to a finished product. We're going to take it out of here now. We're going to set the vise to the side, and we're going to see how it looks. I'm going to inspect the wire tie. Looks like I've got it on fairly good. Ready to give a few tugs on the material. See if it goes anywhere. Well, it's on good and tight. Are we layered right? See there, I'm showing you the direct back of the jig. I've got that orange on the back along with that tan. Flip it around to the other side. We have the darker green pumpkin copper there. So it looks like that is correct. Now I'm going to look straight down the barrel of the thing, down the top of it here. Want to see if there's any bald spots. There really isn't. So the jig looks good. Now I'm going to flip the camera back around. We're going to take a look at the other side and see what we want to do with this bad boy. Okay, there she is. What to do? I think the tentacles look good. I'm probably going to trim them off to about here. Maybe about here. I want a little bit of flare, but just not a ton. As far as the rest of the skirt, I mean, it looks really freaking good. Looks like it's going to have some nice natural flare to it. I may do an every other kind of strand cut, if you will. Kind of give a little something to... I just don't know, folks. I mean, you would think I'd had my ducks in a row before making a video. Actually, that's called life. Sometimes you have a good plan going in, and then something else sexier happens. Sometimes it's the other way around, and we have to account for, crap raining out of the sky. In this situation, that is just a pretty jig. So, I think the only fair way to do it is to make one way, one the other. So what I'm going to do with this bad boy is to trim or not to trim. Oh my gosh, that's sexy. I went into this video for a dadgum finesse jig, and I come out tying what I always tie. I'm not a huge finesse jig fan. I'm a finesse angler. Do not get me wrong. However, when it comes to throwing jigs, jigs are a big fish bait. I tend to throw a lot of standard jigs. But I thought, you know what? This nice compact head, you know what? It is what it is. It's a finesse jig. Let's make it a finesse jig. Alrighty, folks, enough hemming and hawing here. Here's what we're going to do. I want to give it just a little bit of a haircut. Those top layers. I might go kind of in between. That's not exactly a full finesse trim, but that's kind of a finesse trim. It flares out good. Okay, yeah, okay. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of the same to the bottom. Now we're going to tidy up a little bit of the bottom here. We're not going to take a lot off. I'm going to be very careful not to trim the tentacles here. It's just so hard to see around the camera. Last thing I want to do is butcher this bad boy. Let's see how that lays. This is the mess that's made whenever you make a jig. Sometimes I come away from layer tiring and my wife wonders if I've been to a strip club because I'm covered in glitter. Boy, look at the way that top half flares. Goodness gracious. Look at that, folks. Now, I'm going to come and I'm going to trim just a bit off of those tentacles there. Not much. I'm going to take it about there. So, let's see how it looks. Nice flare at the top. Nice, good, bulky, thick midsection. There we go, folks. There's the final product. Forgive the camera movement there. As you can see, I've put the Conquistador tackle. It's either a 2.5 inch or 2 3/4 inch chunk trailer on the back of it there. I've got the black accenting there with the black in the skirt, along with the green pumpkin and copper there from the trailer. Match it up. Now, all things in nature are not completely matched up in color. Hence the reason I folded in the orange. Hence the reason I folded in some of the tan to lighten it up in spots. If you've looked at a real crawfish before, you know that, yeah, most of the body kind of matches, but there'll be spots of red or purple or blue or orange. So I'm trying to kind of accent that and bring those out. It's never really all one color. So there you go. This bushy little bad boy here should catch something. Has a nice fine mono weed guard. Has a nice football head to keep it out of rocks. There's the orange on the back side there. That looks like it'll catch, folks. I can't wait to get out and try it. It's nice and it's wire tied so that we don't have to worry about the collar busting, and should be good to go. Well, folks, there you have it. A little custom ditty on a nice Keitech tungsten football head. Looks like it'll catch to me. Well, I appreciate you guys being here today. Please like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Until then, you know what I'm going to tell you. Get out there, keep it wet.